Scott Woodward with you to talk about Friday night football, and we have two great games. And based on my early ratings, I can't separate both the games. I have evens each of two, both teams in my early ratings. Obviously, that will change given some of the outs that could be happening, and there's a couple of key possible outs that we'll talk about in a minute, and that will have an impact on what we do in the game. At the moment, we're going quiet. We need to get some more information. But look, let's talk about the first big game. We have the Dragons and West Tigers to be played at Cogra Oval, which is a big advantage for St George. The last 5 times they've played, St George have won 4 of these games against West Tigers, so that's a big advantage. And look, we're not going to do a lot on this game until we know exactly what's happening with West Tigers' best forward, Gareth Ellis. You would have seen last weekend that he copped a knee into the thigh and just ripped his thigh apart, and he's in agony. Evidently, it still is not in good shape, and whether or not he comes up for this game remains to be seen. If he doesn't come up, the betting will change dramatically, and St George will firm in a fair bit in this game. Right at the moment, I don't think there should be much in the game. I think they're both outstanding teams, very exciting teams. Both should be playing semi-final football. The Dragons also have their injury problems. Both Scott and Matt Cooper have not trained this week. They're expected to train on Thursday, and providing they both come up well, I think the Dragons have got a great chance, and I favour them slightly if they're both fit and well to go on and win this game, only because of their track record and principally because St George played the worst game I've seen them play in many years last weekend. It was very un-St George-like. The mistakes they made, their ineffective tackles, it's just not the St George that we know. Just to give you an idea, they made 28 ineffective tackles compared to the Bulldogs' 11. That's just amazing. And they made 15 game errors. Now, normally over the last 3 years, St George have averaged under double digits in errors. So they made 50% more errors than what they normally make. And that's just most unlike St George. Look, I know the new coach has changed their defensive pattern, and he has Ben Hornby now on the right-hand side. And he has his 5'8" on the right-hand side. It used to be the other way around. I'm not quite sure why he's changed that. They had the best defensive pattern in the NRL, so I don't know why you'd change it. But Bo Scott is an out-and-out forward, and he's been stuck there. He's a very good defender, but defending in the forwards and defending in the backs are two different things, and any good centre doesn't have any trouble in sidestepping around Bo Scott. And I think the sooner he gets to the forwards, the better St George will be. But they're struggling a little bit with injuries at the moment, and he needs to plug that hole. We saw how much Matt Cooper was missed last week, and they really do need him into that side. One of their heroes in the side, Dean Young, while he's valuable as a talker and he revs the team up when he comes on, I have to say, from the 2 games that I've seen of Dean Young in rounds 1 and 2, he's a shadow of his former self, and he's nowhere near ready for first grade. I don't know if it's injuries, he's not fit, or he's just lost it, I don't know. But Dean Young should not be playing first grade based on the form we've seen in the first 2 rounds. A big worry there. But I'm a great fan of being on a good side when they've just had a 12-month low and they go back home, and that's what St George have done here, and I expect them to live. They know that they had a shocker, and you can rest assured that you'll see them rev up like they did in game 1 when they beat the Newcastle Knights. One thing I'm pretty confident of, that the Dragons will rev up for this game. Now, as far as the Tigers are concerned, obviously they'll be counting very heavily on Gareth Ellis to play, simply because they haven't got a lot of depth in the forwards. The fact that they've got 2 young kids playing in the prop underlines that. And Matt Great, I still have a very big question mark on A, if he's a first grader, and B, if he's ready to be a starter as a prop in first grade. I'm yet to see that. I still have a question mark on Tim Molson. He's been quiet as far as I'm concerned in the first 2 games. I haven't seen a combination there with Benji Marshall. He looks like an individual runner to me, and that's not what a halfback's job is. A halfback's job is to organise and to kick tactically, and I haven't seen that of Tim Molson. Benji is Benji, does good things, does bad things. He almost won the game for him last week, but he went missing at a couple of times when they really needed him to be there, unlike Daly Cherry Evans for Manly, who was just played the clinical number 7 role for his team. He was the organiser, the tactical kicker and the talker. That's something that Molson and Marshall have to do for West Tigers if they want to kick on and become back to favourites for this competition. So, look, I'm going to have a close look again at Tim Molson. The jury's still out for me if Tom Humble is going to be the fullback for West Tigers. He was thrown to the Wolves a little bit, so we're going to give him a little bit of slack here. And he's got genuine pace, particularly off the mark. And so I want to see a little bit more of Tom Humble. He's a Parramatta reject, and they have a track record of letting very good players go. So no surprise to see Tom Humble do very well here. Joel Reddy comes on the wing, adds a little bit of experience. It's something that they probably need. He's not a winger for mine, though. Look, he's a centre if he's going to be anywhere, and even then, I think he's a borderline first grader. His defence is only ordinary. The bench for the Tigers we've talked about, it's only ordinary. Guys like Matt Bell, Junior Moores on the bench don't really excite me. So, look, I think this can go anyway. The fact that Benji Marshall and Robbie Farah are there, the Tigers have got a great chance, there's no doubt about that. But I'm counting on the Dragons really revving up at home, and I think they'll win this game. But I have to say, the way the prices are at the moment, I'm not that excited. Things may change through the week. Won't be doing anything at the prices on offer, but I do think St George will win the game. The next game we have another cracker, the Newcastle Knights and the Broncos, and I couldn't separate these in the ratings. Betfair, the betting exchange, couldn't separate them either. The bookies have made the Broncos just a slight favourite in front of the Knights. Now, from the 21 games played, Brisbane have actually won 12 of these games at Hunter Stadium, and Newcastle only 9. That's an amazing statistic. So the Broncos have no fears about jumping on a plane and catching the bus to Newcastle. They don't mind that at all. So don't worry too much about playing away. Some of the big question marks I have about the Knights at the moment, I'm going to elaborate on. Tamana Tahu comes back in. He's a liability, yes, but he's also a massive talent. Ryan Stigg comes in for Gidley. Now, the thing that I have a concern about with Ryan Stigg, firstly, I don't think he can possibly be fit. He's recovering from an off-season operation, but I don't like the way that he telegraphs his sidestep. I think after a few games, everybody has picked that up, and he got away with it in the first couple of games, and now that everybody knows what he does, I think he's safely held, and he doesn't represent a danger to opposition. So there's a massive responsibility here on Jared Mullen and Darius Boyd to get things moving for this team, and also Danny Badiris. I'm a massive Danny Badiris fan, but I have to say I have a little bit of a question mark on him at the moment. He's doing a good, solid, honest performance, but that's not Danny Badiris. Danny Badiris is normally a star, and I haven't seen any of that star quality. I appreciate he's got a bit of age now, but he's in a key spine position, and he needs to be doing better than what he's been doing. Adam Cuthbertson, still starting at prop. He's not a starting prop for mine. I think he's been very disappointing. Neville Costigan has to be a question mark on if he'll start. He has got an injury. Interesting to see if he comes up. So, look, I've got a big question mark on some of the things that I've seen Newcastle do in the first 2 rounds. Look, and I understand it is only 2 rounds, but let me just share something with you. So far, we've had 2 games played, and out of the 16 teams in the NRL, the Knights are running 14th for missed tackles, most unlike a Wayne Bennett team. They're running last for offloads conceded. Sorry, let me go again. They've conceded, no, last for offloads conceded. They're running 14th for line breaks conceded, 13th for line breaks made, and 14th for tackle breaks made. They're awful statistics, and I appreciate it's only 2 games. On the other hand, the Broncos are leading the tackle breaks, their opposition for this game. In the 2 games that they've played so far, the Broncos have made 46 tackle breaks. And given the poor defence that the Knights have shown so far in the first 2 games, and given the massive offensive talent that the Broncos have got here, I think we can expect that the Broncos will be making a lot of breaks in this game. As a matter of fact, I think this will be a high-scoring game. And given the closeness of the betting in this game, and it's what I assessed it at on Monday morning, we may very well be looking at exotics and may want to be on an overs in the score. But look, just looking a little bit at the Broncos, first and foremost, Jared Beale, I think he's an immense talent, but he's an out-and-out fullback for mine. I think he struggles in defence on the wing, and he also struggles with the bomb on the wing. I think, I'm not going to say he cost him the game, but he went for a ball in the last couple of minutes last weekend that he shouldn't have gone for. He had no hope of getting it, and it turned over possession. Consequently, it caused a scrum, which caused North Queensland to go on and get a try. It wasn't a very smart thing to do. I think he'll be playing fullback next year. I'm not quite sure for what club, but he has to be a fullback. He is not a wing. He's a waste of talent there. There's a lot of difference between fullback and wing. I know a lot of players can play both positions. Jared Burl is one guy where there's about $200,000 or $300,000 in value on the two positions for him. Corey Norman has taken over the key position of 5'8". Very much jury out for me. Sometimes he does some good things, but he kicked the ball last weekend when he had an overlap. Had he passed it, they would have got a try, which would have meant they would have won the game, and it wouldn't have come down to the last minute. So once again, I'm not saying Corey Norman cost him the game, and maybe we'll put that down to inexperience. He can certainly kick good with his long left foot tactical kicks, and he can certainly run the ball well, but I'm not quite sure if he's got it up top like his predecessor did have. So Corey Norman, for me, jury's still out big time there, and he's such an important position. I don't think we can give him too much more slack. We'll watch him very closely over the next few weeks. Petro Civoniceva is back to start for the Broncos. A massive in. They need his experience, and they need his go forward, and they need his defence. And more importantly of all, he just doesn't make any mistakes. He's the sort of guy you want in the team. Sam Thaiday will drop back into the second row. Now, look, both teams have missed their best workers and their goal kicker here. Gedley's out for the Knights, and Parker is out for the Broncos. And normally you'd say they're big problems, but they sort of cancel each other out. And I think the Broncos probably cover a little bit better than what the Knights will. Ben Teo will drop back into Parker position, and while he doesn't offload as good as what Parker does, and he hasn't got the work rate that Parker has got, I think you'll find that someone like Matt Gillett will come on a lot earlier than what he does normally, and he'll play the lock forward. I personally would have liked Matt Gillett to be starting. I'm a massive rat for Matt Gillett. I think he's an immense talent, and I think you need to start your game with your best talent so you don't give away a start, as the Broncos have done in their last 2 weeks. They've given away tries at the start of their last 2 games, and you just can't afford to do that. You've got to get off to a good start, and I would like to see the Broncos start with their best 13, and that hasn't been happening so far, in my opinion anyway. So look, I expect both these teams to be playing semi-final football, and I think that they certainly, I wouldn't be surprised to see them both playing in the grand final. But I think both teams have got a lot of room for improvement. They certainly won't be feeling their best 17 on Friday night, and it's going to be a great game. Just looking at the prices, we can't be doing anything at the moment. I assessed them at 100%, both even money. No line in this game. Bookmakers have the Knights at evens. Broncos at $1.90, and there's not much between the Knights and the Broncos with the exchanges. And look, I think it will be a very close game, as these games generally are. But I do think it'll be a high-scoring game, and I can't wait till it starts. A lot of talent on show. Will be a very exciting Friday night. Hope you back a winner, and we'll get an email to you on Thursday morning and also Friday morning with our latest if there's any injuries and if we have a change in our staking plan, and hopefully we can have a good Friday night and back a winner. Talk to you soon. Cheers.